Welcome to episode 12 of Latinas Be Like Us. I'm really happy to have Mayra Gomez-Sanchez here with us. Mayra is a copywriter, marketing strategist, and founder and CEO of Cultural Visionaries. She helps BIPOC business owners connect with their communities by incorporating language they feel most comfortable using in their everyday lives. Her goal is to write in a way that shows her clients unapologetically self so that their audience sees their authenticity and start finding their trustworthy and authoritative in their niche. The BIPOC business owners she serves range from BIPOC-owned, women-owned, Latinx-owned, LGBTQIA+-owned, but she's more than happy to partner with anyone who shares her values and vision and who are passionate about creating a meaningful impact on other people's lives. Wow, Mayra, that's so awesome. Welcome, first of all. So talk to me about Cultural Visionaries. How long have you been working on that project? And congratulations, by the way, that's impressive.
Yes, first of all, muchas gracias for the introduction, Belu. I'm really happy to be here. And I'm excited just to share my story with the hopes that whoever's listening gets that animo to also continue on their entrepreneurship journey, or even if they're just starting out. So with my copywriting journey, I started it in May of 2022, where I began taking a copywriting course just to learn about what copy was and how to utilize it best when I start working with clients. So 2022 was more of like the learning curve on actual copywriting strategies. And then it wasn't until the end of 2022 when I finally got my LLC for, at the time, it was just Mayra G. Sanchez agency. And that's when the LLC was created, the website was created. I started opening up like my social media for it on Instagram. And I kind of just left it at that. I think a lot of it was fear. Like, okay, I did this part, but I'm nervous to do the next step of actually reaching out to people. Like, people start to feel like imposter syndrome, like, or I don't know enough, I'm not good enough. And all those thoughts started going into my head. So that was a rough patch that I had to definitely consistently practice even to this day to overcome and to go to the next step, or else I would just stay stuck there. Like I made the LLC, now what? So that was that, small section of a rough patch. We entered 2023 and I finally got in that mindset where I'm like, okay, let me just take that imperfect action. The first step of just reaching out. The worst people can say is no. And I keep going, you move on. So I started doing that in January, and then February. So after a month of reaching out, in February of earlier this year, 2023, I got my first client, and I was so excited because it was like one of my dream clients that I've been part of. I don't know if you know of the Amigahood for We All Grow Latina, but I was being a part of that community for a while as a member. And because I found it so inspirational, and once I learned about copy, I'm like, oh, it'd be so cool to write for them. And Anna wrote back to me, one of the founders, saying like, oh yes, we'd love some copy for our landing page for the Amigahood membership and some emails for Amigahood. I was like, oh my gosh, this is right up my alley, because this is what is part of my values. I am a member, even before copy. So like my circles aligned, and I was just very thankful to We All Grow Latina and to Anna for allowing me, to showcase my expertise with them. And I worked with their VP of marketing, Melissa Bailey, and she was so helpful too in our dialogue when I would send her copies of the rough drafts of the landing page, and we would write back and forth, have meetings, and we got to a point where it's like, okay, this is how we want it to look like. And now the new version of the landing page for Amigahood is up on their website. So it's really cool to like go on it now and see like, oh my gosh, I was part of that. And it was very exciting, and it gave me that animal to keep going.
That is so amazing, Mayra. I mean, yes, of course, I know we all grow Latina, and it's incredible. Like what you're talking about, the imposter syndrome is so normal too. I think we all experience that in one way or another, but seeing that's such an inspiration, that's such a great story to share, and congratulations. I mean, we all grow Latina is such a great platform. I'm actually hoping to go in 2024 and connect, because I feel like I don't see the same kind of culture in the East Coast where I am, and looking at their website and looking at what Latinas there and creatives are doing is just very inspiring. So I'm just so glad that they reached out to you, and that says so much about their brand as well, that they're willing to give an opportunity to people who are trying to do their own thing, and that is exactly what they believe in. So that's incredible.
Yes, and I still get like like when when the little hair starts to stand up on your arms when I think about that, because I was just over the moon, like, wow, like I never thought I would be able to do something like this. I before copywriting, I was doing the 9 to 5 corporate job, and I was burnt out. I didn't feel the passion anymore. I felt like, is this it? Is this what my life is going to be, of just like day and night work, go to sleep, be tired, and repeat? So to make the choice of learning something new alongside my 9 to 5, it was a challenge, because it was like pretty much 2 different jobs. And then eventually it was like, okay, now my copywriting is a side hustle, but I'm still doing my 9 to 5. And that, again, 2 jobs. And as of October 6th of this year, now I'm fully copywriting. So,
Wow.
From May 2022 to now officially, October 2023. And now we're on the last 2 days of 2023. It's been a long, hard journey, but it's been good. I've learned a lot, and I'm just so thankful for the clients that I've had, because they have the same values. Like our values align with one another, and I had the support from mis papás, mi esposo, mi hermana, like everyone. They may not know exactly what I do, even though I tried my best to explain. But they're just want me to be happy, and that means a lot to me.
That's beautiful, Mayra. And I just want to say that it sounds like it's a long journey, but it's impressive that you did it in a little bit, like a year and something, because that's quick. That's quick if you think about it. You just went for it, and you did it, and that's impressive, and that's so inspiring. What was that last straw? What was the last thing that you said, you know what, I had enough, I'm gonna do it, and even if I'm afraid, I just have to go for it, because I don't wanna stay in the 9 to 5. Like you said, I'm burned out. So what was that sort of quick decision where you made it, and you started actually following your dreams?
But it was definitely a long time coming, porque for the longest time, my previous job, I was an elementary teacher, and I work with first graders, and I love them dearly to this day. I do miss them. But it was such a big job that wasn't just about, teaching them. I know any other teachers who are listening out there, what I mean about like the parents and the admin, and just all the hardship that comes with teaching, where it was affecting my mental health. And I never experienced anxiety or depression before, but I always get teared up when I think about that, because it really did change my mindset for the worse. And it was hard to keep showing up for these, bright-eyed students, and me having to be like fake in a way. And it didn't feel right to be their teacher when I wasn't feeling it. It's like, oh, pobrecitos para ellos, because they're starting their education, and they should have a a very excited teacher. And so that's why I was like, oh, it's not fair to them, and it's not fair to me. So after a long time, it was like maybe a few years of going through that, it did get to the point where I was like, I cannot do another day of this. So I did give my 2 week notice to my boss, and she was very gracious, and I felt like we ended on a good note. I still asked them like, what can I do to make this transition as seamless as possible for my students and for my teaching team, because I care deeply for my coworkers, all wonderful people, and so I did what I could in helping them with the process, and then yeah, the 2 weeks were up, and I left, and it felt like a mixture of emotions. I was relieved, I was happy, I was sad, I was nervous. But overall, I feel very happy that I did it. Like it was something that needed to be done.
Yeah, and I hear you on the just not feeling it, not feeling like you belong there anymore. Let me ask you something. Did this have anything to do with the whole COVID season? I know that there was a lot of teachers that felt completely overwhelmed and felt like they did not have any support, like real support, by the institutions that were supposed to be there for them. And, of course, we also have this gun epidemic that is really affecting our country. So this had anything to do with that decision?
Yes, I was actually the cherry on top to making that final choice of leaving. I know a lot of different schools had different rules to follow when it was COVID time, and my specific school was tricky because I was at a charter. So sometimes the rules don't apply to what traditional schools follow. So we were still expected to be at school. We did have that main shutdown, but we came back earlier than other schools did, and sorry about that. And with that coming back, they still were, expecting me to do. And I understand, right? The 6 feet apart with 6-year-olds who are not understanding what's happening. They just are wondering why their teacher is telling them they can't talk to their friend, hug their friend. And then we were doing where like half the kids would come to class and the other half were on Zoom, but I had to have my like Zoom computer in my classroom and do classroom management and try to teach. It seemed like an impossible job. Like, how am I supposed to, keep up with the standards of the core curriculum, but keep social emotional learning for these kids at top par, try to help them understand what's happening with the world. And also, they're also children. It's like, don't put that in your mouth, don't get the scissors and try to cut your hair,
Oh, yeah, that sounds very overwhelming. The part where you have to make sure that they don't put anything weird in their mouth, and then making sure that the kids on Zoom are actually paying attention. And then on top of that, making sure that the kids in the school, like in your classroom, pay attention. That seems like a lot. So I'm glad that you're no longer where you're not supposed to be. Let me ask you now, why copywriting? What was that thing that drew you to copywriting and pursuing a career in that?
And I love that you asked me that, because for the longest time, my family and my friends, they would ask like, well, if you don't teach, what are you going to do? And my answer for the longest time was, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know this is not it. And towards the beginning of 2022, like January through March, I just started going online and, good old Google. And I'm like, what do teachers do after teaching? Like, they don't want to teach. What are some things that they do? And I was reading things, and one that stood out to me was copywriting, because I just saw the word writing and I still don't know what the term was. I'm like, well, something to do with writing. I'm like, let me look more into it. So I went down this rabbit hole of like research, and I was seeing how like, you can write in a way to persuade people to take an action, but it doesn't have to be done in a way that feels gross or like very salesy. Like, you could do it in a way that's ethical, that's authentic, and that helps people. So like, the clients I've worked with, their purpose is like, yes, you're buying my service, you're buying my product, but it's to help you, the consumer, give you, I don't know, better quality of your life, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally. And I'm like, oh, sounds like what I want to do. I still want to help people. Like teaching is, you're helping. And I still want that as like a core of mine, but shown in a different way that in my mind, can reach more people. It's like, well, if I write words for companies that makes their target audience want to buy from them, but I know that the clients I'm working with have those values that I have, it's going to be this ripple effect of positivity. And given how much negativity we see online, we're glued to our screens nowadays. I would hope that there is a little sliver of positivity if somebody comes across words that I've written for these clients that are also striving to do good in the world.
That's beautiful. It's incredible that you went through this journey of self-discovery, right? Your family kept asking you, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do now that you don't want to be a teacher? And you had a really honest answer. I don't know. But that didn't stop you, and you went on that self-discovery journey, and you found something that you are passionate about, and now you have your own business. That is an incredible journey. And for those who are listening to us, actually, Mayra reached out to me to offer her services. So hopefully in the future we'll be able to work together. But you saying that it was really scary at the beginning, reaching out to people online and offering your expertise. I admire that a lot, and I think people shouldn't be afraid to do that. And I think a lot of people do it because of rejection, because of fear of that people are gonna say no. So what is an advice? What is something that you wanna tell people who might be going through the same issues right now, and they're stuck and they don't know how to move forward? What is that one thing that might be able to help them shake it off and to actually continue to move forward and reach their goals?
I mean, the first phrase that comes to mind is imperfect action. It's something that I learned throughout my copywriting journey with my community of copywriters. And that has really helped me just keep taking one step forward. I'm like, well, as long as I do something and not just sit there and sit in my thoughts and let them spiral, it's in the right direction. It could be the fact that I am moving the needle very slowly, but it's moving. And the action doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as, like in my case, sending out that first email to someone asking them if they need copywriting services. The first one, I did feel the imposter syndrome, like, oh my gosh, like I've only taught my whole life, how I'm not a copywriter, but it's like, no, like I taught, and I can use all the skills that I had as a teacher to incorporate them into copy. And I also, took the time to really learn copy strategies. And I still have a community of copywriters that I ask questions to and we exchange ideas with. So I have the tools, I have the resources. Now it's just a matter of showcasing them. And that's the first step. It's like, for me, the first imperfect action, send out that first email. The worst they can say is no. And I got a lot of no's. I still get a lot of no's. And I think it's been good to get the no's, because I don't feel it as much as I did in the beginning. Like when I would get that first couple of no's in the beginning of this year, like it would affect me, where I'm like, but now I learned, I'm like, what? It's okay. Like, I don't know the other person on the screen. Maybe they already have a copywriter. They have a lot of things on their plate. They don't have time for one. Like I at the end of the day, I don't know what's going on in their lives, and it's out of my control. and I can only do what I can control, and I can control sending out an email.
Exactly. And, those no's can turn into an interview. So it's a muscle, right? What you're saying is it's a muscle. It takes practice. It takes acceptance that no doesn't have anything to do with you. And then you just move on and continue to offer your services. And that's the only way that you move forward. Mayra, what's next? What's next for Cultural Visionaries? What's next for you? What's happening in 2024? And how can people find you if they're interested in finding copywriting services?
Yeah, so what's next? I know we're ending 2023. I did have a handful of clients this year, which I was very thankful for. That now has allowed me to fully go into copywriting. So that's the path I'm going to continue on for 2024, is to keep the clients that align with my values in my circle, so that I can keep moving with my why behind Cultural Visionaries, working with BIPOC business owners who are striving to create meaningful impact on their communities, whether it's through a service-based products that they have or physical products that they have, and hoping that those words that I write for them, somebody on their screen is reading it somewhere in this country and other countries, and it's giving them some type of positive energy that they've been seeking, given the many negativity that we see in the world. So that's what I want to continue with Cultural Visionaries. And the way people can find me, I have my LinkedIn. If you just type in my name, Mayra G. Sanchez. If you go on Instagram, Cultural Visionaries, and then you'll see, Mayra G. Sanchez. My website is Mayra G. Sanchez. And then, when you go on that, you'll see Cultural Visionaries there. What other way? I just started a TikTok, Cultural Visionaries. It's still a little bit new, but my goal for 2024 is to be more present on TikTok. So there's a variety of platforms that I'm on.
That's amazing. All right, then on to TikTok for 2024. Okay, Mayra, for closing, what do you want people to get from our conversation today? What do you want people to remember?
I want them to know that they don't have to be afraid. Whatever is feeling like it's holding them back, that in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not that big. And the first step they have to do is just move, one small movement. So don't be afraid and go for it.
Beautiful. So listen to Mayra. Don't be afraid. Follow your dreams. Reach out to Cultural Visionaries for any copywriting. And I'll see you next time. Mayra, this was so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story with me.
Muchas gracias, Belu. I appreciate you, talking with me today. And I'm also very grateful that I met you. That's amazing. Like you said, who would have thought an email would turn into this cool podcast?
I love Instagram. A mí me encanta conocer gente como tú. Y gracias por escribirme.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Latinas Be Like Us. Remember to subscribe wherever you're listening. And to learn more or leave a donation, please go to our website, latinasbelikeus.com. See you next time.